We saw yesterday, for example, how quickly Train can... actually, excuse me, not yesterday, 2 days ago, Honoris versus Lingy Vikings. How quickly Train can turn against...
Yeah, it felt like yesterday. Yesterday's games went pretty quick overall, so
yeah.
perhaps you're just blending together the 2 days. But yeah, this is going to be an exciting game, I would say. As you had said, Excellency, sure, they're not fantastic on these maps, or at least their statistics. They haven't won out all of their games. They don't have great records. But Orgles5, they haven't had many officials on here either, so it's going to be kind of both teams coming in and I guess just seeing how they're going to clash against each other in terms of playstyles, because it's not like either team stands out as a clear favorite. So I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a fantastic matchup, and of course, this first map here, it is the pick of Orgles, and that's why we said that maybe they'd be feeling a little bit more comfortable. Perhaps their individual firepower can come out a little bit more on display here on Train, and of course, being able to win out that knife round as well is a pretty big help. Being able to get themselves that CT start. There we go. Nades wise, just a smoke and a molly being pulled out on Holmes. Everyone else going for Kevlar. Nothing too crazy on the CT side either. We're just Jazar going for the kit and a smoke. So standard enough in towards the beginning, and looking to continue on that way, as it's pretty much just a straight up B rush that's going to be coming in. Brody has the chance for a quick flank here, but I was going to say he needs his teammates to have at least a small bit of success first, and Jazar does exactly that, picking off 2 of them and taking them down the ramp. He will fall on return. I was going to say, though, just giving them that man advantage was fantastic, and it seems like it's still going to be enough, because they have just cleaned this up, even denying the bomb plant. Dab is dead. And there it is for Orgles. They pick up the opening pistol.
Well, that is coming in as a tiny bit of a surprise. What we saw there was a straight B rush, as you said. The difference being Excellency. They lost 2 players exiting through ramp. Jazar pretty much on point when he comes down to hitting those headshots. The surprising part was Holmes trying to plant on the far right side, getting engaged through oil and denied for that bomb plant. So it really was a bit of a hiccup there, and Excellency, they could have gotten at least a bomb plant out of it. Instead, they got absolutely nothing, and few kills were able to gather anyway. Oh yeah, Brody pushing up top, upper brown holes, able to get 3 players with the MP9. That's a fact. Right now, we see Ping is going to be playing at a bit of a distance. Surprising, no head armor. I mean, that was 1 shot away for him to lose the M4. Imagine if Brody fails picking up the 3 frags and then obviously maybe getting 1 and the rest of the team still converging on towards upper B. Excellency could have been there equipped with an MP9 and an M4. So luckily, Orgles don't have to deal with that kind of mess at hand. In any case, full buy, and this is a rare occasion to see, isn't it, Dean? Like that you actually see the T's buy in the 3rd round, as per the new economy dictates, or otherwise it's a fresh start here.
Yeah, this is a little dangerous early on, I was going to say, for Excellency, because they got naded to absolute smithereens right there in towards main. And even though they were able to trade back a couple of kills up close in the end, as things do kind of calm down, it ends up being Orgles5, who again have shifted it back in their favor here with a man advantage. But yeah, we have the bio here early on for Excellency because of course, the fact that the pistol round was so quick and there was no bomb plant. They took that 1 eco, but they're able to win out this first gun round, and the opportunity is definitely still there for Orgles5 to build up a very solid lead here early on. Hutchie obviously doesn't want to allow that to happen. He's been able to find Jazar, and with that picking off the off, it definitely gives them the chance to move forward. Hutchie gets another on Ping. Now Brody's left all alone, wrapping around back in through the spawn. He had made his positioning connector earlier on known, and although he will be able to get towards Ivy pretty quickly, I doubt it's something that's really going to catch them off guard. I was going to say maybe that wasn't needed, perhaps he can just straight up win the duel, but nah, Dab comes out on top of it, and Excellency, they managed to fight back into that round after having gone down into the 2-on-3. Hutchie giving them massive openings just to give the bomb plant and allow for them to have the time, obviously, to get that the bomb down and to just go ahead and reposition and play off of each other.
Yeah, most certainly going to be a little bit of a stick there that Orgles pick up and kind of break in the way. Excellency, they got greedy, but they got away with it. We can see right now it's going to be a force back. There will be a few Deagles, a AUG and an MP9. And look at this play by Excellency. Both Holmes and NK already out through Sanders, through all of them. So far, Holmes, he's going to try and go through the smoke as Ping is ready for it. And both of the players getting caught in the process. That is going to be a bit of a hick up again as Excellency. They tried to be a bit aggressive towards Olaf, towards A itself. You could see that they tried to get an angle. Dab seems to try to get an angle towards Pop, moving out of main, but Ping is going to catch him red-handed, and Hadji in a 1-on-5, leaving this player in a scenario like such is never, it's not a good thing for anybody, but especially for Hadji. I had the pleasure of casting him in the past when he was still in Vega Squadron, as per his jersey would suggest, and he was always delivering, but he does need support around him. So I hope that Excellency do not forget that this is a team game in this instance, right? That they are not going to be just running out wildly towards A, hoping for easy frags. Yeah.
Even just, they had good positioning early on that they probably could have tried to slow down with, and just the amount of pressure that they would have had on the CTs by having a player up close behind Green Train and such would have been useful. You can slow things down, you can wait, because with that you can cause the opponents to have to try and make a bit of a play to clear out those positions and obviously give you potential openings. But no, popping into the smoke, at least wait for the smoke to go. That was just a weird approach in that round from Excellency. And yeah, although Hutchie, as you had said, being is a very capable player, and it being actually the kind of savior in the round before, the 1-on-5 was just way too much to ask of him. Brody and Jays are on B right now. They've got 2 mollies as well as plenty of other nades, so with this luck in the B2B push, it might be a little bit difficult for Excellency. I always say Train is one of the maps where you have a pretty good chance of actually being able to get the bomb plant down on these ecos, but a lot of the time that's because there's just one player playing around the B bomb site, and if you manage to get that first kill, or if you manage to cover a little bit of ground early on, normally he's forced to fall back away. But this time, nah, it's not going to be allowed. No bomb plant, no kills, barely even any damage. I think Jazer was low health, but that doesn't matter, obviously, as he does survive. 4-1. Orgles5 on their own map choice here are off to a good start.
Most certainly they are, and this is a bit unexpected, I'll be honest. Like, I think we both kind of said that they're a bit of an unknown team for us. Not really sure what to expect out of Orgles, knowing only really Jazar. And I guess Brody? Like Brody does.
Yeah, I recognize Brody.
Yeah.
I don't think I recognize any of the other players. I was never one to follow really UKCS or anything. So
likewise.
They could be fairly well known in the scene. I'd like to apologize if you guys are.
Hey man, look, it's happening. You can't know everybody, right? In that essence, they're doing a great job. They really are. And we did kind of mentioned that perhaps they might have to rely a bit more on aim and their brawl and that kind of sense, brawn, I guess you could say. And certainly they are currently. And look at this, main control going to be established. They're smoking off Pop. They're doing everything they can to block Excellency from taking map control, and so far extremely successful at it.
Yeah, I mean, even though they seem to be a relatively new team, we're already seeing a little bit more from them here in their CT set of train than we got from some other teams over the last couple of days. As you had said, even just taking that control and really restricting the round early on here for Excellency. And before really anything has happened now, there's just under 40 seconds remaining for Excellency to actually make a play happen. Clearly setting themselves up to bring this out towards A, with a couple in Pop Dog and the majority of their forces positioned over towards Ivy. But when this goes down, all 3 of these teams actually are playing around the kind of like hell in such area here. Actually, a couple transitioned into Sandwich. And although the trades have come back to keep Excellency at least in the 2-on-3, the time is just so low. Those kills coming in, they delay enough to ensure that there's really not much that can be done by the remaining player. As again, it's Hutchie who's left alone. 1-on-3, he may get this 1 kill on Brody, but even at that point, if he had the other 2 players would have just tucked into corners, so there would have been nothing that he could do.
Unfortunately, yeah, it just doesn't work and go in the favor of Excellency, as we do see the side of Orgles keeping themselves up to rifles only. Interestingly enough, usually would have ops coming out almost instantaneously whenever the money would allow it, whenever the situation could accommodate for that. Instead, Orgles keeping to the rifles kind of tells you the story that they will be relying a bit more perhaps on aggression. And so far, they're doing exactly that. Ping finds himself Rylex as NK comes in through Ivy, able to respond. Good return by Jazar and Dobbo, though, as they both able to find 2, lock out the round itself, and even after losing Ping, they seem to be completely and utterly unfazed, and I gotta respect the tenacity Orgles is currently displaying and how well they're able to posture themselves without looking one bit concerned, without looking one bit, you know, like there might be in a complicated scenario, and there comes the first time the op.
Yeah, it's very early days, but these rounds definitely overall have been, at least that previous one, there was pretty much smooth sailing. So yeah, 6-1, they're looking good. The op available on both sides right now, and looking like we're going to find some early contact around ramp. Jays are holding the first line of contact with the AWP, and Brody was tucked in up close, but the op shot is missed. You see, Brody can't really do anything. They did a ping ready to swing in from heaven as well, so again, at least a good trade being found for Orgles, but this time, Excellency, I was going to say they could be happy with the position they have. The 4-on-4 would have been all right, but Cypher was battle, and his Dobbo somehow gets that kill onto NK. It remains again in favor of the UK boys. Gavin Holmes left to save the day, and at the moment, kind of separated. See Holmes a little bit further ahead. He needs to give them this opening quickly as well, because the rotations have already come in. And there's just nothing that he can do. Holmes, he is completely surrounded, I believe, knowing that there's a player behind him through main as well. Gets the angle on Dobbo, okay. They need to be careful here. Everyone is currently very low, so this is a round that could, in theory, still go either way, because there's the time on the clock for Holmes to work with. But he doesn't expect Cypher up close.
That was such a close call indeed, and as you said, low HP on all 3-4 players. If Dav had survived a little while longer for Holmes to get himself in a better position, most likely we would have been seeing a very good chance coming out from Excellency. But instead, we did not, and instead Holmes unfortunately get himself pincered in between trains. Didn't really help out his scenario one bit. A very costly round for Orgles, so a good attempt by Excellency, but it's not going to stop them from winning. It's not going to stop them from gathering an economy. 10,000 on Cypher, 8,000 on Ping, Brody. You know, they just keep on chiming in, and Brody's going to find Rylex. So, again, we do have... Oh, excuse me, it's the other way around. It was NK finding Brody, is what I meant to say. And there will be a bit of a loss here and there, as Hudgy's able to also catch off Dobbo, but Ping, he is controlling the upper holes, and he seems to be in a relatively safe position at the moment. I gotta be honest, I expected so much more from Excellency, just because, you know, they do feel like... Yeah, exactly. If nothing else, the name. If nothing else, the name, yeah.
Holmes, I don't think he's going to be getting comfortable nor at home on this B-bomb site for long. I was presuming it should have been an easy enough finish. Jayzo had the up, so either way, he needed that one shot to be connected, wasn't able to do it, but did delay an extra few seconds, and as Holmes took the gamble that it was maybe going to be the flank coming in by Cypher, which I think is fair. He's been playing up relatively close to A main and such, if I remember correctly, so it was a fair presumption, I would say, to try and plant it a little bit more aggressively there so we could maybe get control in the back lines, but the rate doesn't work out. 8-1. Excellency, they are struggling, and they realize that it's not over yet. It's not completely out of their reach, but they need to turn it around pretty much right now, and that's why they've called in this pause. They know that they need to get a few rounds on the board here before they could really even afford to lose another round.
Yeah, that's true. They really have to get themselves head in first and start to chip away at Orgles, as we said, tenacity and mentality right now is pretty solid. Orgles don't seem to be fazed by one bit of their losses. They don't seem to be overly concerned when it comes down to these 2v1s, one-on-ones, however else you might want to designate them. And we will see where it gets them to, because there are obviously limits to how much they can stretch this kind of endless aggression and careless aggression, I could almost say. But look at this, towards Ivy, a bit of a different approach. Orgles, they will boost on server. In this case, Cypher. Pingu is trying to bait in the peak, the challenge, but the smoke already preventing the rest of Excellency from pushing forward. And we'll have a bit of a weird setup, if I'm honest. Although, the nade, it's perfectly timed. Hudgy down to 41. He is going to be cursing under his breath.
Yeah, more like Hurgy.
Yeah, it could work. It could work. No, it's good.
I'd like to apologize to everyone's eardrums. But this, I was about to say, yeah, this boost is finally looking like it may have a chance to do something. The smoke was down, so he had a little bit of vision above it, but the spam coming in, it didn't really manage to connect anything and haven't given away his position for us to fall back. But you can just see how long it's taken Excellency to really be able to claim any control, just because of the aggression that has been pretty much relentless from Orgles so far throughout this map. It's in the mind of Excellency. They know that they have to be at least cautious of it, and it really is delaying them. Again, the time as they start to push forward here could be an issue if a few kills come in for Orgles.
Well, currently the setup of Dobo could be the one nail in the coffin. Hutji, good start. Even though he's being hurt, he is still able to get a few hurts on Orgles. Though in this instance, it is going to be 2 frags easily for Excellency. They will get away with the bomb plant likewise. Holmes already addressing the problem backside. Gets rid of Gathar as Rylex gets caught in, of course, deep CT lines. It's going to be Holmes. It's going to be approaching from old bomb. 2v3 as Ping takes his head off. And it was 2v4 to begin with, but Orgles, of course, they're going to attempt this. I have no doubt that they will go in as head hardy as they can be. Ping, never mind. Will be shot in the back and Dav catching himself a piece of Double. Well, Double didn't get a sock yet, I guess, and he's having a bit of a slow start to the game, to the map. Likewise, Rylex at only 1 frag in.
I think it's kind of fair. I think he's more so just been in a position where he hasn't had a chance to do much because his teammates were killing them all before they could get towards him. So maybe, but yeah, no, still early on in the game, 8-2. But yeah, Excellency, they're able to get that another round on the board. Is it a replicatable performance, though, is the question, because it needs to be. If they end up losing this one, they have a tiny bit of money left over, but not really enough for the buy on everyone. So then they would be like in a bit of an awkward spot where they may have to give away even a 10th round. So they need to keep this up here. If Excellency can manage to pull this one back, they actually will also break down the economy of Orgles. And off the back of that, really begin to recover this half into a position that could be even respectable.
Well, it took them a little while, but they are there. As you said, economy has been literally broken for Orgles when it comes down to the future. Although Cypher gets one, it's NK and Holmes. An almost instantaneous reply that gives Excellency the man advantage. And not just that, it starts to pull away a little bit from the defense of Orgles and really just shatter their whole setup. Jazar connects, but it's NK through Electro that's able to find himself purchase once more as Ping is left in a 1-on-3. Does he even attempt this is a better question. He has no kit, he has no smoke. He has very little room to work with, especially with the way he's postured in this instance, being towards Old Train. Might get an angle of attack, and indeed he does. NK walks into him, finds himself in a 1-on-2. This is not impossible. Ping, because if he's got low enough of it, he might actually pull it off. Oh, he spots Holmes in middle. Dab, though, in pool will be the surprise party. 3 rounds to Excellency, and as you said, as you predicted, they will break the economy here for Orgles and force them to go for pistols and Kevlar. Even then, just pistols.
Yeah, I would imagine they can't really go for Kevlar. Obviously, Cypher could, in theory, but you're going to want that little bit of extra money. You only get 2,400 into the next round, so having the ability to pull out an op if you want to, alongside everyone else who'll pretty much just have the M4s with limited utility, so going to be needed. But yeah, Excellency definitely managing to recover the situation right now. Should, as we said, have that 4th round for themselves, and then off the back of that, having a chance to maybe even still bring it up towards 7. It'll be kind of 6 to aim for at the minimum, I'd say, but definitely looking much, much better. Stabilizing themselves, having a chance here to build up the economy, and yeah, so far having a pretty clean round, only losing 1 player. Dobbo, he does him on socks, he wants some exits, but he's not going to get them. 8-4.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Yes. Well, I teared up in that part of the movie, I'll admit. It was just such a nice little moment. But yeah, it is going to be 8-4, as you said, and we do have the op backup on Jazar. Utility-wise, it's not the best for Orgles. They have no kits, which kind of tingles my berry a little bit. I personally get very, very... not angry, just kind of disappointed when you see no kits, right? But I
can understand why in this situation, but I would have preferred if maybe one player went for a FAMAS just to get a hit and an extra nade or two, maybe.
Honestly, just don't buy one flashbang or might not don't buy one smoke and you've got yourself a kit, right? It's like
I think they need the smokes as well, though.
that's true, but like one smoke, like they can sacrifice one smoke in that regard at least.
Well, it's a good thing Brody didn't, because he needed it right there to avoid the molly. They've actually slowed this push because there was a molly down on the ramp as well. Oh, I was going to say by the time they get going forward, there's going to be a lot of TPs in place, but it didn't really seem to matter, at least in the initial seconds of the execute. A good recovery here has been found by Orgles after dropping a couple of players to at least leave themselves in a somewhat winnable retake, as I, of course, go to finish that sentence, they end up losing the player to the up of Dav. So again, outnumbered. Excellency, they can slow things down a little bit. They have Holmes, who just doesn't really seem to care. He peeks in and ends it. Quick headshot, a spray transfer over to the low health player of Dobbo, and there it is, 8-5. Excellency, yeah, they built their way right back into this, 4 in a row now, and probably a 5th, because it is just going to have to be the eco for Orgles to try and come out with 9 at the half-time, which, considering they were up 8-1, is going to be a half that I think they'll be feeling a little bit disappointed with at this point, even if they manage to get that final round to put themselves up on 9. Not terrible, but it's just when you have such a strong start, normally you're going to be aiming for double digits at least, for 10, if you're 8-1 so early on.
Exactly. So Excellency, though, in that regard, or excuse me, Orgles in that regard, have been a little bit stumped. They don't really seem to are able to find their way back into their winning ways. As for Excellency, you know, this looks like it's going to be 6 without any further ordeal, which is perfect. It really sets them up well for the next stage, or specifically the second half, given that they will be moving to the CT side, which I'd argue is a little bit better for them, as they might have looked a little bit lost at the beginning of the T's this first half, given perhaps that, you know, needed to wake up. It's maybe a little bit early for a few, and just generally speaking, it's always a bit of a mess to begin early on.
To be fair, I think it's 2 hours earlier for the UK boys.
2 hours earlier?
Over some of them anyway, over some of the Russians, right?
Well, NK is... well, actually, in this case, Hadji, not NK, apologies, is 1 hour, I think, ahead of us in Moscow. Well, I don't know if he's...
Yeah, but then you're 1 hour ahead of UK as well.
Yeah, that's true. 1 hour ahead of UK, yeah. So it's like 8 in the morning for the UK boys.
8:27. I'm on the same time.
Oh, 8:27. Yeah, it's. I mean, do you like? Let me pose your question. Would you feel comfortable playing 8 in the morning? A proper official.
Yeah, but probably not the first time until I adjusted to it a little bit. But I don't think it'd be too big of a deal. Although, do you know what is a pretty big deal? NK just walking out 8. That's definitely going to be an issue for Orgles here. We said they need this final round. 9 is what they need to try and actually bring this up to, just to at least get one more, to end it on a high note and to give themselves a bit of security for if that pistol goes wrong, because right now, at least, Excellency, they are connecting every single shot. Ping eventually returns 1 and gives them maybe a bit of hope back, but Rylax, he's creeping out Ivy, and for the moment, this is not being watched. And there's even Holmes who's creeped out B at this point. They're completely surrounded. The only issue was, yeah, the bomb had already been committed out in towards Olaf, so Dav couldn't do anything with it. He had to just wait for his teammates to make the play. Thankfully, Rylax is able to get the trade, and yeah, Holmes, they just had no idea he was moving in through connector. I think that's pretty fair, considering they hadn't even spotted the Ivy player quite yet. They just knew that there was one kind of lurking around A main. They were just taking a gamble that B hadn't been taken over, considering there was one still just chilling out on A. But unfortunately, that was incorrect. And indeed, Excellency, they managed to come out with 7 rounds. After being down 8-1, they pull out the last 6 and put themselves in pretty much a fantastic position, especially if they win this pistol round.
I mean, this is something else entirely. As you said, 6 in a row is an amazing feat to be able to pull off on the T side. And with second half starting off, with the pistol starting off, briefly before we begin, we can just mention that Unicorn, of course, and their continuous support has helped bring this tournament to new levels. So make sure to go check it out. And there's a few special things in order for you guys as well. In any case, Pistol is live. Excellency holding the line. Rylak's going to be playing in the pool. He's smoked off, although he's got Hadji on the other side. Dav supports that. And it is going to be quite the beginning here for Excellency, my friend. It does not look like they will be phased too much, and they will continue their onslaught from the first half itself. As Brody and Jazar now have to deal with this mess. They have a decent idea where they should be fighting or where the fight will be coming through. Unfortunately, they don't really have the element of that man advantage. Jazar, a 1-on-2. He's got a P250, so it's not impossible. One bullet is enough for each. But NK will finish it with a CZ, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, difficult shots to hit. Excellency, we're just trying to be as awkward as possible. Constantly strafing side to side in the 2-on-1. And with that closing it out, 7 rounds now in a row. This has really, really gotten out of control for Orgles. The kind of tide of momentum that looked like it was so heavy in their favor early on in this map has just completely slipped away. And for anyone who may have only joined us recently, who may not have been here in the beginning, and in general may not have looked at the VO, this is the map choice of Orgles5, so it's a very worrying position right now for them to be in. A bomb plant here would be quite nice, just to buff up that first gun round, give them a position to try and get a round on the board early, which is what we did see from Excellency. And indeed, the bomb is going to go down. 1 kill. If Pink can manage to get one more somehow, that would be a miracle. It would have been fantastic and would have actually forced a decent amount of reinvestment. But yeah, in the end, keeping it to just the 1 casualty for Excellency. But again, Orgles, they can feel pretty happy with what they were able to achieve in that round.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the bomb plant is an amazing feat to be able to pull off, given you're going in very much naked in terms of firepower itself. But in the instant replay here, we'll see how Holmes does deploy this Molotov with near perfection, and his hold might have been a bit better if he'd been able to hit the second shot. In any case, he's got NK there, to support him. And of course, the bomb plant is a bit of a hiccup, but it's not an issue that Excellency can't handle, nor something that will drastically change the current round itself. Here comes the full A take. It is going to be the gun round. It is going to be the AKs. As NK finds Brody already, though. Orgles seems to be stumped yet again, pushing out towards A. All 4 players grouping to hit this site, and it's going to be Cypher and Ping that get naded down to oblivion. This is not looking good right now. Excellency, well, truly looking excellent in their own regard. And Hudgy, jumps into the crosshairs of Jazar. The bomb is lost, though. The bomb dropped towards connector. Oh, ouch.
Oh, no.
Oof. Big
Yeah,
oof.
that's a pretty big issue. I mean, the round already wasn't going too well for Orgles, but once the bomb is gone, it's pretty much confirmed, and Cypher being flanked out. Not going to have a good time with that against the MP9. Upgrades for free here on the CT side. I believe already, being able to upgrade both of those weaker weapons that Dav and NK. I think Roylax was trying to also get one of the AKs, but he's got an M4, so the fact that he doesn't pick it up is more so just kind of like, okay, that kind of sucks. You don't have the ability for the 1 shot to the head. But they have all their rifles, and that is the main thing, obviously. But coming into this round, obviously, with no bomb plant coming down, with no kills or anything coming in, the loss bonus isn't going to be sufficient for a full buy. So Orgles, again, are left just going to spend in what they can, and with that likely conceding over an 11 to Excellency, which at that point is them having taken 10 rounds in a row. So I'm getting pretty worried here. It's looking like Orgles have kind of just fallen flat once they ran into any sort of resistance.
Honestly, right now, it's a very straight line that Excellency is walking without seemingly any crevasses on either side, and they are having an easy time cleaning up both pistol and gun rounds alike. And it's a bit of a surprise, I'll admit. I did not expect him to be this good, but I did kind of expect him to be better on the CT side in general. Yet still, they're delivering on all points, and just kudos to them, really. For Orgles, it's a bit of a shame, really. They also had the advantage to work with. 8 rounds, 8-1, excuse me. Perfect angle of attack they chose to begin with. Unfortunately, they seem to have kind of lost their way, and so far unable to find it back. And I mean, 8-11 currently speaks for itself, and just looking at the current stance of the rounds, how they were played out or how they were switched out, we can see it has been a continuous 10 rounds in a row currently for Excellency, which is an achievement in my own eyes already. Excellency doing, well, just absolutely marvelous work.
Yeah, I mean, excellent work, I guess you could call it. But yeah, if they can keep this up right now, then it's just ridiculous. I don't know. At that point, I would be feeling a little bit hopeless, I would say, about Nuke coming up next. We already said that, although really every single map is one we don't know what to expect out of Orgles, we do think that Train here was one where ideally it would have boded better for them. Cypher actually catching Hoochie off guard right there. That's a couple times now that Ivy has been left open, but if it actually gives them the openings that they need to win out the round, because there's still a few CTs around this bomb site, set up well also to ensure the trade. And again, dropping the bomb, Dobbo goes down. Brody taking that fight up towards heaven at the moment, more so just trying to bait it out.
Brody.
He had Dav taking the shots, who had actually managed to tag him down, but ends up committing to the fight himself, and yeah, unfortunately leaves Jazar alone, who's not really able to do anything anymore. He ends up getting dropped as well, 12 to 8, 11 in a row now, and yeah, I mean, it makes sense there. His teammate had probably called that he'd managed to connect the up shot and that he was likely low, and also the shot had just been taken by the upper up in heaven, or rather the shots had just been taken by the player up in heaven. So trying to catch him off guard, it made a bit of sense, but I don't know. They could have played that maybe slightly better together. I think they were feeling the pressure, not sure of where exactly that second player was coming in for it. Perhaps he was on a quick flank or whatever.
It feels like Orgles are lost in space, man. It feels like they don't really know what they should be doing. Once they get an entry even there, they kind of don't know where the hell they should be going. And NK gonna be blinded fully, so at least that's gonna give them one entry. But Holmes finds himself as Watson as he gets 3 frags, and it is gonna be denied by Brody in the end. Back to a 2-on-2. But that was all Holmes there. Without him, there's a good chance Excellency never have a chance to even take this round. And Rylix able to deny Jazar, does drop the bomb, but equally so, and it builds up a little bit of a scary thought in the mind of Brody. He's got the up in hand, but Haji is a little bit faster and a little bit better, and that is going to be the 13th, and that is Holmes all the way, man. This guy, he's been playing for so long. I've been following him for the longest of times, even, you know, his stint in Blue Jays, his stint previously in, I believe it was Apocalypsa beforehand, and then it was Squared back in the day, even a while back. So really, this guy's been on the scene for the longest, and it's nice to see him pop off like this, and hopefully this is a team that he can stick to for a little while longer and actually find further success. And, well, Excellency, so far the name will be the name of the game as well for them. It's looking really good. Like, honestly, I did not expect him to be able to play this as well. And I think we both kind of can agree to the fact that the start looked so weak, we almost believed them to be already gone for map 1. At 8-1, it looked grim. It really did.
I was on the brink of believing that, if I'm going to be honest. We had said at 8-1 when they called in the pause that was where they needed to turn it around, and yeah, that happened. The pause was apparently magical.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all pauses are magical according to Twitch chat. But let's not.
It's just so they can check their script, isn't it?
Yeah. You have to open up that Google Doc. Oh!
God, I was about to say it looked like maybe Holmes was going to be able to get him either way, but he was watching Ivy from there, but no, going absolutely huge. The entries from Cypher and then from Dobbo as well to come in and just clean things up. That was a very swift round from the first point of contact right there for Orgles. It had been so long for them that they decide, okay, guys, we need to at least get a convincing round here for ourselves. That'll kick us back into action right now. It'll light a fire under our asses at this point and hopefully get us back into this one, because it's really not one that they can afford to lose. As we said, Nuke coming up next. Really, all 3 of the maps, as I said it already, we don't know exactly what to expect from Orgles, but this is their map choice, so you'd imagine that this is definitely going to be the one that they're more comfortable on. And just being a relatively new team in general, Nuke is usually a bit of a harder one to adapt to, at least in the early moments. Not usually the first map that you focus on.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of... There's a chance that they might not be ready for Nuke at all. Already for Train, they're not exactly too well set up. And we can see here struggling with their T side, meaning that they haven't really prepared much in terms of setups for the T side. Now, there is a default being played. We can see it's going to be pretty standard. A very classic 1-2-2 split, or 2-1-2, excuse me, with having one in Ivy, with having 2 in main and 2 in upper brown holes, either taking brown holes or taking pop. Ping, ping! Finding 2 though, and again, low ping for him as he's able to find both. Dav and Holmes left the Serbian duet of death. Is now in this instance the only line of defense, and Dav will find the first. That's a good start. Does he expect Ivy to be overtaken though? Surely he knows, and yes he does, and he's ready for it. Dav finding himself a perfect angle as Holmes is going to continue pushing on through brown holes and into upper holes itself. He is looking to take the full flank, and Dav knows this. Surely he is aware there should be just buying. He should be just buying time in this instance, getting Holmes in this position to work the flank perfectly. Dav needs to make sound though. At this point, Orgles cannot get suspicious of a potential flank. If they do, Holmes is dead 99% of the time. Well, they will definitely not be suspicious of that, my dear friend. And look at this. A 1-on-2 now. Brody, how does he work this one?
What? Apparently by having the first player jump out of Ivy. Oh, gets the info as well by jumping up. Knows where Holmes is coming in from. Just posts up on the right side, and after the molly's thrown in, knows that for at least a split second, Holmes is going to be a little bit more vulnerable and capitalizes on it as Brody comes up big when needed right there. But yeah, interesting choice from the first player to just jump in from Ivy and to not wait and see if his teammate was able to get up a little bit closer before they actually made that push happen, because that definitely could have been a much more efficient retake, at least in the last moments there. Yeah, either way, can't take it away from Brody. Hits the shots when needed, and there it is. A 10th round on the board for Orgles. They've managed to pull back now a couple after obviously struggling a lot for a while, and now having finally the chance to get themselves a little bit of an easier round up against just a couple upgraded Deagles and then 1 P250 for Hutchie. So on paper, not a lot should be found there, but even the USP so far is dealing out some serious damage onto Jazar, so that's a little bit scary. He does manage to deal with that player at least, but down low, Jazar is probably going to be a little bit more limited in this round.
That was such a neck-breaking moment there, and as you said, Jazar in this case needs to get the hell out of dodge. Is even going to be able to throw away one of the AKs, making sure that Excellency don't pick it up by chance. And Orgles, they find themselves success where it was most unlikely, and in this instance, it is thanks to Brody they're able to avoid certain death and defeat. Now, the CTs, a bit concerning the way it's all been going right now. Economy as well, not on their side. Not exactly going to be of the helpful kind. Jazar, though, going to be able to clean up the mess at hand, and Brody and Ping will find 2 more to conclude the round. 11-13, as Orgles are picking up the pace once again. And you know, it sounds funny when you look at the it looks funny when you look at the result, right? It's like, oh, it's 11-13. It must have been a close map. It must have been very neck to neck and just changing rounds left and right. Well, nope. It was 8-1 and then 13-8 actually 12-8. And now it's 11-13. Only 3 rounds for Orgles, so it's not like it's the end of the world here.
Yeah, and when you say it was 8-1 and then it was 12-8, it does seem like it was just that. It was just instant. It was just so convincing.
True. Yeah.
Even as you had said, the initial 9 rounds, the 8 that went in favor of Orgles were also very convincing. So it's been a weird game so far. We haven't had the most competitive of rounds, and it's been back and forth in terms of segments of the game being claimed by each team. But yeah, 1 AK in place right now with already a man advantage here for the CT side. Oh, the timing could not have been any worse for Dav. He's going to be slapping himself, but maybe NK can slap some opponents and make up for it. There's one.
That's
gets
the bomb.
The second. That's the bomb. Oh no, this is horrible. Jazar, the sole Swede right now, is going to be left to try and save the day. And he does have a smoke to give a bit of room to try and pick it up, but he unfortunately gets spotted by the Deagle.
Plant? Wow.
Still got the bomb plant, but he's 26 health right now, so it's still going to be such a difficult spot. He's been flanked out. Okay, hits the headshot on Hudgie. Nade goes over. It's not going to do anything towards Rylax not being deep enough, but it gives a little bit of time just for the repositioning right now. And Jazar's actually going to stay down low. This could maybe catch him off guard, and Jazar so crisp, and that's what you need when you're unfortunately left in a position on 26 health against 2. Fantastic work. That was way too scary though, considering that was the eco from Excellency. Now that they come back onto their guns, they've done so much damage, and they've left themselves in a position where if they win this round out, then as you can see, 3 of the players over on Orgles are going to be left on an eco, which at that point they couldn't afford because that'd be giving away map point.
Exactly so. Right now, Orgles on the verge of breaking the back of Excellency and literally putting themselves on a potential map round winning victory. As Dav will find the entry though. Once again, we'll have an entry here that the CTs can work with. And look at this fast push out of Brody going towards Sandwich itself. Novo shutting down Rylex. That's a great start. If Dav gets caught on back 6, that's a wide variety of the map, or a big variety of the map itself now wide open. Novo gets spotted. The lineup as he gets... Did he get 2? Actually, that was Brody, excuse me. Did he get both? Yeah, he got
Brody
both.
got 2.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah, Brody got both there. Double was denied the chance, but still, it's a one-on-one ping. He has to retrieve the bomb, though, and Dav seemingly saving the day in this instance. Not yet, though. Not yet.
Yeah, I was about to say, maybe. He still has to win out the 1 versus 1, and although he has the health advantage with the op, it doesn't matter quite as much. He needs to hit that shot immediately either way. But yeah, Ping left in a position with quite a bit of pressure on him. As we had said, losing this round could lead to map point already for Excellency, so he knows how much they need this one, and will begin to move in for that bomb possession. But just as he does that is when Dav peeks back into main. Catches him up close, hits the quick scope, and oh no, that's, as I said now, just so detrimental to Orgles. If they hadn't taken any damage in the previous round, or if they had have even just kept 3 players alive, then they probably could have scraped out a relatively decent buy, but instead they're pulling out what they can, and all it affords them is 1 op, 1 AK, and I believe the rest of the players are going to be stuck on pistols. We'll see exactly what they have in a moment. But yeah, standard enough shot there, but it was connected, and that's all that matters, really. But yeah, actually a second AK able to come out alongside the ops as well. I think that was with Ping dropping it over and just taking a deagle in return. So they managed to work it out to get a little bit more firepower, but this is it. This is basically do or die on this map for Orgles.
It really is, isn't it? It's down to the wire as Orgles, they cut it close. They bring out 4 rounds in a row, unfortunately denied on the cusp of victory, and that will be as close as they got for the time being. Oh, this angle of attack. Rylex taps away, finds the second. Oh, Rylex looking for the third, even extending his welcoming hand to potentially Jazar. Unfortunately, there was a fly swatter that kind of puts him off the angle a little bit. And Holmes, yeah, but easy as that. Jazar, he's in Ivy still, and by the time he can get towards that bomb, it's going to cost him at least an additional 15-20 seconds, and in a 1-on-4, you can't really run there. Otherwise, you are destined to fail. And Jazar, at this point, well, he won't have an option but to run, and unfortunately for him, he doesn't have an option anyway. 15-12, and we are now on the verge of Excellency picking up the first map. It's cutting it a little bit close with the way it's all been going, but seems like Excellency like to play it neck to neck here and not allowing themselves too much freedom in terms of how many rounds are left on the board. Timeout for Orgles, though. Not sure what they really want to discuss. I mean, at best they could afford Tech 9s, a Scout without Kevlar, P250s, Deagles, and maybe 2-3 smokes on each. Or excuse me, 2 to 3 smokes on the whole.
Yeah, not much more than that. Maybe they could scrape out Mac 10s and body armor if they wanted, but then they would be lacking the nades even more so. So
yeah,
just either way, a very difficult spot for them to be in. You say obviously not too many rounds in the difference. Excellency obviously not having the biggest of leads here and maybe cutting it a little bit closer than they would have liked, but the biggest part that contributed to that obviously was just the fantastic 8-1 lead that Orgles were able to get. Since Excellency started winning rounds, we haven't seen much else happening. Or Orgles have got a few, sure, but even then they haven't been all that convincing, and they haven't really been able to chain anything together to get the momentum rolling again that they had in the beginning. Decent nade. It actually does barely any damage to Hutchie. It looked like it was going to do a little bit more, but either way, Excellency getting themselves that A main control, restricting the info here for the T's early on. And I like, although, that they do take it and even make that known by stepping inside, they back away because they're up against pistols. You really don't want to be given those close range positions.
Yeah, you want to you want to be able to play on your long range. You want to be able to deny those pistols any sort of quick takes of rifles and such. And Rylex, in this instance, he's playing it a little bit cool off the ground, and of course with the Molotov down, preventing the rest of the teams to help out. Cypher is isolated, and Cypher, just like in the Matrix, is going to be pulled away by the agent Smith, and Rylex finding two more. I think we know where this stick is pointing at, and this stick might be the end here, and indeed it is. 16-12 as Excellency pick it up. What a fascinating start to the map. What a fascinating first half, only to finish with, well, not necessarily an unexpected amount of rounds by Orgles, but definitely just